Today, we're talking about Gnishak Verminlord, aka the champion who has been the bane of my existence over the last few days. Now, he's going to be doing Icegolem stage 25 as well as Dragon stage 25 today, 100% solo with a very high success rate in both, one being 100%. You do not have to have a blessing on him. Every single test that I ran until this showcase right here was with no blessings. So the smite is level 1, we get brimstone, but it really doesn't do that much. I think it may be more impactful on Dragon. But let me talk to you about this guy and why he's been, what I'm saying, is the bane of my existence. I mean, that's pretty dramatic, I'm gonna be honest. But this dude is the most strange champion for soloing that I think I've ever seen. So a few days ago, I left him on overnight. He had ran 35 runs with no fails. I believe it was 35, maybe 30. Let's just call it 30, okay? 30 runs with no fails. I had him like 250 speed, really good HP, really good defense, or so I thought. Well, 30 runs, no problem. I figured, hey, let's go to sleep, wake up in the morning, and we should have a 100% success rate, right? Well, I woke up, came down here, and it was like 36, 37 runs, and 3 had failed back to back. Like, that's really weird, okay? This was probably around midnight or so, okay? So around midnight, he failed. He failed 3 runs in a row, but 30 runs he had done with no fails whatsoever. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't super strange. I mean, he'd only done 30 runs, so let's go ahead and try this again. So on stream a few days ago, I rebuilt him. We played around with him. I've spent so much gems, energy, silver on this champion. It's much appreciated if you guys leave a like for this video because, man, oh man, I've spent a lot on this guy to test him out. And this is the live servers because on the test server, I can only test individual runs. You're going to see why that's important right here because I ran Nishack yesterday 70 times in Icegolem stage 25. Well, I ran him 70 times with 0 fails, and then somehow on the next run, he failed one time. Let's watch him do this wave 2 because wave 2 is the only place he really is going to fail. Actually, I'll let him finish this out. We'll continue talking. But basically, I did 72 runs, 0 fails. The next one, it was a fail. So obviously, you got a pretty big issue. I can't sit here and watch him do all those runs because I'm not going to sit here for 4 hours to watch for 1 fail. I don't have that kind of attention span. I can barely pay attention to a 10-minute video, let alone 4 hours of watching the rat dude try to solo Icegolem stage 25. It's not going to happen. So I could have done a video recording, which may have been the best idea, but I honestly thought this guy was just going to be consistent. But to my surprise, after he failed that one, he went on to fail about 3 or 4. And this, strangely enough, was also around 11 or 12 o'clock at night, which I'm beginning to think at midnight, you shouldn't use the Rat King to actually solo anything because I guess he gets sleepy or something. I don't know what the deal is, but he begins to fail the runs, which is mind-blowing to me. I understand that with like percentage runs, you can have things go maybe even say 95 runs with no fails and all of a sudden have 5 runs fail. It's going to be a 5% or a 5% loss rate, so you're going to have 95% success. But typically you would expect that to be like, okay, you fail 1 in every 10, more or less a pretty even distribution. But for this, it was like I failed 3 or 4 back to back, but then all of a sudden the next day it's like it runs perfectly fine. So here's Icegolem. We'll run it again a few times towards the end of the video, but I want to go over here to Dragon while we talk about some, actually no, let's do Icegolem first because Icegolem is the area where it's more gear intensive. Dragon, to be honest, is actually very easy. So the important part of this is that we have a tournament going on for, or an event going on for the current fusion, which you should definitely check out, and the fusion's awesome, but you may be looking for a solo champion. I'll get into talking about 20, 24, and 25, which place is the best area to farm. I don't necessarily think 25 is the best area to farm for efficiency, but if people are looking to do it, 25, there it is. Stage 20 is magic or spirit affinity, so he's not going to work on stage 20. At least not very well, he's weak affinity. So on stage 25, let's check out what kind of gear you need for Nishack to solo this. So the gear I had was Immortal plus Regeneration. Actually, it's currently what he's wearing. Okay, Dragon's a little bit different. So what he's currently wearing is Regeneration plus Immortal. And you can see that the gear he has in this screenshot that I have right here is the exact same stats as we have over here. So you can see the gear is the exact same. 67,000 HP, 3,400 defense more or less, 227 speed, 282 resistance. I would like for that to be closer to 315. That may have made the difference between the success rate I had versus the success rate I could have had it been closer to 315, and then 200 plus accuracy. Granted, if your masteries, if you have the ones that boost your accuracy, like if you have this one, Swarm Smiter, and this one, you can go a little bit under 200, and it's not going to be a big deal whatsoever. So as far as the masters I have, this is my setup, okay? I don't have Cycle of Magic or Evil Eye. The only reason why is because I was trying to get it to be consistent, and Cycle of Magic can make it sometimes very, very good, or could make it fail sometimes or succeed sometimes. So I was hoping to see how it would do without either of these, but I may actually go Evil Eye just for the small chance of decreasing the Dracomorph, I believe it is, in the second wave's turn meter and allowing me to get some extra heals. So I may go Evil Eye, but this is how I currently have it set up. This is the success rate that I ran with. If you boost his HP closer to, say, 70,000, if you get his defense closer to, say, 3,600, it should be 100%. Honestly, that small boost should make the difference, but this is what I currently have. This is what I feel comfortable enough actually sharing with you guys. After 72 runs, it did very well in my opinion. And also being 2 minutes and 40 seconds, it's really not bad. Much better than what I had done before, which is around like 10 runs, and then it be successful, but then all of a sudden start failing a ton in a row. But either way, this is what we have. This is the current setup. Boost the HP a little bit, boost the defense a little bit. If you have masteries, if you have Brimstone, not masteries, if you have blessings, and if you have him at 2-star, Brimstone's amazing. Pick up any of these HP or defense blessings that you could get. It's gonna be really beneficial. Sheep is plus 400 defense, so outside of the benefit of the actual Brimstone, the Smite being so good, the actual stat benefit is very, very helpful as well. So there's his masteries. This is the setup. This is what you can use to get him to run Icegolem stage 25 at a very high consistency. 72 runs, it was 100%. Well, 98.6%. At 72 runs, it was 100%, but then the next one, it was 98. I'd say this run is probably a 95% or higher consistency. It's going to be very, I guess, wavering because, like I said, it ran 72 with no fails, and then it failed a few in a row, but now we're running and successful. But either way, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the build for Dragon Stage 25 while Dragon is running in the background. Let's go down here. I'm going to try to make these showcase videos relatively quick, because the biggest thing you guys want to do is just copy and paste it, and get to working with it. So Dragon Stage 25, there we go. The build for this is actually much easier. He's still in the Immortal plus Regeneration, but you don't have to be. I literally took his Immortal boots off and put in like some accuracy or perception stuff. It doesn't even matter. Honestly, I don't think you even need resistance. The second wave does have some turn meter decrease, so having some resistance is going to be nice, but if you can't get it, it's probably not a huge deal, because Nishack gets so many extra turns that he works through the debuffs, and then he gets his healing up pretty quickly, okay? So his stats for Dragon Stage 25 were 62,000 HP, 3,300 defense, 227 speed, and then we have decent resistance. Hopefully you guys can see this. If not, let's zoom it in just a little bit. And then 208 accuracy. Always going for that 200 accuracy minimum to make it consistent with landing our debuffs. Debuffs, very, very important. Now, as far as the runtime, 1:57, very good, and this one is 100% successful. This one, there's really no issues here, honestly. We have a decreased defense on ourselves, but then we just run right through it. I mean, Nishack on Dragon Stage 25 is possibly the best champion to solo it. Is that weird? Other than Teodor. Teodor may have him beat out, but on Dragon Stage 25, he is so fast. He's faster than Bad L, I believe. Bad L, I forget the exact times, but I mean, he stacks the bombs and the poisons up so quickly in the Dragon. It's crazy. Plus the Brimstone, I mean, boom. You're going to have a sub 1 minute 45 second runtime. I mean, look at all these poisons. My goodness. It's a full debuff bar of poisons. I mean, 10 poisons, that is crazy. Absolute insanity. If you can run Brimstone, great. If not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, because after that first turn, you're never going to get a chance to place Brimstone again, because the poisons are all going to stay up. He's not going to die. The Dragon doesn't get enough turns to actually scale high enough to actually kill Nishack. So as a solo champion, Dragon Stage 25, he's actually pretty easy to build for. You can see that over all these runs, the average was 1:57, which isn't bad whatsoever. And yeah, I mean, you need regeneration gear, but other than that, you don't need anything super crazy. Honestly, you could probably do this with 2 sets or maybe even 3 sets of Immortal gear and be perfectly fine. Just shoot for like 60,000 plus HP, about 3,000 plus defense. If you can't get very much of those, try to get some more speed, and then go for the decent resistance and decent accuracy. If you can, at least 200 accuracy. Try for 300 resistance, but if you can't get it, not a huge deal. The ascensions that I have on these pieces of gear don't really mean anything. I mean, a small HP boost. I'm not going to ascend anything that I use on champions for solo content. I think it takes already difficult to achieve gear to the next level, and then it becomes very difficult. So we're not going to do that just yet. As far as the boots, we got some resistance. They're pretty good. Some decent speed on some pieces. But all in all, I mean, for a Dragon Stage 25 champion, I don't think he's that outrageous to actually build. For Icegolem, it's a little bit more difficult, and especially the slight inconsistencies, which is weird. Now, with that said, I do have Oppressor. I don't know for 100% if you need a presser. So I've tried it with the Iron Skin. It worked decent, but I still got fails. I ran several runs, got a fail. I've tried it with Unshakable, very similar. Ran several runs, got a fail. I've tried him at 250 plus speed, still ran several runs, got some fails. Very, very weird breakdown, but a presser seems to be the most consistent. On the Icegolem, it doesn't make it as fast as it could be if you didn't have a presser, but the benefit is you're getting so many extra turns that your heals should be pretty solid. So let's go over here back to Icegolem, see if it's going to be successful again. I'll show you guys where it kind of gets a little bit shaky. I even ran it earlier with just regeneration. I took off the boots, put on the boots that I use for Dragon, so he had the same stats as he did for Dragon, which is that 62,000 HP, 3,300 defense, and it still failed. Or still, sorry, it's not failed. It actually succeeded. So it was successful, which is so confusing to me. It's like, dude, you run with significantly better stats consistently, and then all of a sudden get a few fails. I don't know what exactly is happening, but I am comfortable enough, I'm confident enough with this team, this single champion, to share with you guys that, hey, this is actually working pretty well. If you guys invest in this champion, I don't think you're going to be let down. If anything, you're going to have a very consistent Dragon Stage 25 farmer. Now, as far as the books, he is fully booked, okay? Of course, he's fully booked. Basically, what happens is he's placing a bunch of bombs, he's decreasing the cooldown of the bombs, and then he's placing decreased attack, and then he's placing some more bombs, and then it turns into a lot of poisons and just an amazing champion in general for solo content. But being an attack-based champion, he's going to have a little bit lower base stats, so it'll be a little bit more difficult to build. But all in all, I mean, he has similar gear to a lot of my other solo champions, so it's really not the most difficult champion by no means to actually build. I'd say Richoff is probably one of the more difficult solo champions to build. Nishack hasn't been too bad. So here we go. We're coming up on the very end of this run. Somebody is banging on my door upstairs. I don't know who that possibly is. Hopefully it's nothing important, but maybe it's the wife. Okay, it's probably the wife. Let me take this phone call, but you guys enjoy this run, and I will be right back. Hello? Yes, that was the wife. So you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to go ahead and get the door unlocked for her. Thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.